In this video, we'll start at the beginning and answer 4 questions about grants. 1. What is a grant anyway? 2. Who gives grants? 3. Who gets grants? And 4. Finally, what will grants pay for? Question number 1. What is a grant anyway? Overall, it means that something is bestowed by some kind of formal action from one person or entity to another person or entity. For example, many universities were chartered with a land grant, or permission is granted. But here at Grant Chatter, a grant is defined as a sum of money awarded by a public agency or a private organization to a nonprofit organization for a specific community benefit. A grant generally has these characteristics, though there are exceptions. A formal application, usually online, though some are still on paper. Deadlines, hint, a late grant is an unfunded grant. Reporting requirements, restricted to a specific time frame, usually a year. Limited to the specific purpose you'll spell out in the proposal. And at the time I filmed this, there are 1.4 million nonprofit organizations in the United States and an estimated 10 million worldwide. That's a lot of competition. Question number 2, who gives grants? There are 3 main categories of grant makers, and each of them have different reasons for giving. Grant maker category number 1, private grant makers. Private grant makers give to support a specific cause or causes. They're often started by an individual or a couple. They vary greatly in size. Local family foundations give a few $1,000s each year to local charities. Private grant makers can also be huge in size and awards grants across the globe. Grant maker category number 2, corporations. Corporations have 2 methods of awarding grants: straight from the corporation or from a corporate foundation. But both have a specific goal that benefits the corporation. Dollars awarded straight from the corporation are usually tied to marketing, so the nonprofit receiving these dollars will be required to publicly acknowledge the gift, such as with a banner, social media posts, and so on. But a corporate foundation tends to take a longer time frame to meet those corporate goals. For example, an electric utility that serves multiple states, including mine, awards grants for youth to consider careers in science as a way to encourage a new generation of people to consider the work their company needs, specifically keeping electrical lines in good repair. Grant maker category number 3, public grant makers. Public grant makers can be local, state, or federal government agencies. In each case, they utilize tax dollars for grants based on that elected administration's priorities, which change. Publicly funded grants are also notorious for their complexity, so anyone who is new to this funding source should consider first whether your staff or volunteers have the bandwidth within your organization to collect, manage, and report on lots and lots of data. Question number 3, who gets grants? There are 3 types of grant recipients. Recipient type number 1, nonprofit organizations. This is far and away the largest category of grant recipients. Nonprofit organizations are awarded that status by the the IRS in the United States, with a 501c3 for the most part and a tax ID number. Pretty much every grant maker requires that tax ID numbers are included in the grant proposal, either the number and or a copy of that letter, so keep a scanned copy. You may also have to put a copy in and a paper version mailed. Recipient type number 2, grassroots organizations. Grassroots organizations don't have tax-exempt status, so by themselves cannot apply for most grants. So instead, they can partner with a nonprofit organization that is tax-exempt. That nonprofit then agrees to submit a grant proposal on behalf of the grassroots organization. This is called being a fiscal agent. Recipient type number 3, individuals and for-profit corporations. Here's our final question. Number 4, what will grants pay for? What grants pay for is programming, a new program, expanding your program, and your organization's ability to serve more people. Think of that funding as a bridge or a ladder. And you have to prove that you can keep the program going after the grant dollars are spent. Sustainability. What grants cannot pay for? Grants will not be awarded to pay off debt. The grant maker does not want to put these kinds of dollars into something that happened before they wrote their grant check. So, to wrap up this introduction to grants, 1. Grants are bestowed by one formal entity to another for a specific purpose for a specific period of time. 2. Grant makers have multiple reasons for awarding funds, from personal interest to national policy. And 3. Grant dollars are awarded to entities, most often nonprofit organizations, that can move the needle on a community need and sustain that movement. Thanks again, and be sure to like and share this video, subscribe to Grant Chatter, and opt for notifications. See you in the next video.